Signore e signori, siete pregati di prendere posto, la cerimonia sta per cominciare. Grazie. Lascia buio. Signore e signori, siete pregati di prendere posto, la cerimonia sta per cominciare. Grazie. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The ceremony is about to start. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The ceremony is about to start. Thank you. Signore e signori, siete pregati di prendere posto. La cerimonia sta per cominciare. Grazie. The floor to the President of Bocconi University, Professor Andrea Sironi.
Autorità, care colleghe, cari colleghi, care studentesse, cari studenti, signore e signori, grazie per essere qui oggi. È un piacere per me dare inizio alla cerimonia di inaugurazione dell'anno accademico 25-26, il 124esimo dalla fondazione della nostra università. Lo scenario internazionale con cui ci confrontiamo presenta nuove complessità e sfide in larga parte inedite per le università europee. Per un lungo periodo la spinta propulsiva della globalizzazione e dell'innovazione tecnologica ha garantito alla formazione terziaria un contesto internazionale relativamente stabile, quasi prevedibile nelle sue principali linee evolutive, caratterizzate dallo sviluppo della mobilità internazionale di studenti, studentesse, ricercatori, ricercatrici, da crescenti scambi e collaborazioni tra università di tutto il mondo e da un clima molto positivo nei confronti del mondo accademico. Oggi la polarizzazione e la frammentazione geopolitica, le quali hanno sostituito l'antagonismo alla cooperazione, hanno impatti importanti anche per le università, soprattutto nel loro grado di apertura internazionale. Anche per il mondo accademico vale infatti il concetto di interdipendenza strategica. Le università come la nostra fanno parte di network globali nei quali lo scambio di talenti, di idee sono continui. Sono sistemi allargati a una pluralità di portatori di interesse che non si esauriscono ai confini nazionali. Gli studenti, la faculty, lo staff amministrativo, le comunità dei ricercatori, gli alunni, le alunne, le donatrici, i donatori, gli employer, le imprese che finanziano la ricerca, le istituzioni con le quali si rapportano, solo per citarne alcuni. L'accoglienza di studentesse e studenti stranieri, gli scambi con scuole partner, l'accesso a finanziamenti internazionali per la ricerca o a dati transnazionali possono essere fortemente condizionati da cambiamenti politici o normativi in un determinato paese, con effetti immediati sulle opzioni strategiche a disposizione di un'università. Se le relazioni internazionali vengono ridisegnate secondo logiche conflittuali e volatili, incerte, crescono l'incertezza politica e i rischi connessi a quest'ultima. L'esempio più chiaro è chiaramente il commercio internazionale, la cui deriva geopolitica è diventata evidente negli ultimi mesi con conseguenze sulle relazioni economiche fra paesi ancora da valutare. L'Unione Europea fatica ad adattarsi alla muscolarità del nuovo contesto perché nasce e si sviluppa su premesse antitetiche rispetto alla forza bruta. L'enzima alla base dell'Unione Europea è infatti la fiducia reciproca fra gli Stati membri sul piano politico ed economico, che poggia su un sistema di valori e di regole condivise. E proprio i valori europei definiscono in questo momento storico i tratti delle democrazie liberali: libertà, democrazia, uguaglianza, Stato di diritto, diritti umani. Fra le libertà non citate esplicitamente dal trattato, ma certamente coerenti con i valori dell'Unione, vi è la libertà accademica. Secondo alcuni, Michael Ignatieff, la libertà accademica è diventato uno spartiacque nella competizione geostrategica fra democrazie liberali da una parte e regimi autoritari dall'altra. Di sicuro la libertà accademica, ossia il diritto di studenti e docenti di perseguire la conoscenza, la ricerca e l'insegnamento senza interferenze o forme di censura esterne, e con essa l'autonomia e l'indipendenza dell'università, hanno di recente subito attacchi diretti anche in paesi insospettabili. Non si tratta di critiche al sistema universitario, che sarebbero naturalmente più che legittime, ma di vere e proprie misure punitive. Tagli ai finanziamenti alla ricerca scientifica, interruzione dei finanziamenti e programmi governativi, licenziamenti di migliaia di impiegati di agenzie pubbliche, inclusi scienziati, provvedimenti restrittivi sui visti per studenti internazionali, fino a casi di interferenze nei programmi di insegnamento, nella governance degli atenei o fermi e arresti di studenti e docenti considerati nemici. Misure di questo tipo contro la scienza e la libertà accademica, che assumono il carattere di un attacco politico al sistema pluralistico e all'ordine liberal democratico, vengono giustificate, nel caso recente degli Stati Uniti, da un lato come misure di rimedio agli eccessi della cultura woke, tollerati dai grandi atenei americani, dall'altro per combattere presunti atti di antisemitismo già efficacemente contrastati dagli atenei oggetto di attacchi. Queste misure hanno generato incertezza e in alcuni casi persino paura nel mondo accademico, spingendo numerosi studenti, ricercatori e scienziati a considerare di emigrare verso altri paesi. Una recente indagine condotta dalla rivista Nature su un campione di 1600 ricercatori statunitensi ha mostrato come il 75% di loro considera seriamente l'ipotesi di emigrare dagli Stati Uniti, in particolare verso Canada ed Europa. Questa tendenza, in questa survey, è particolarmente pronunciata fra gli scienziati più giovani, ancora all'inizio della loro carriera. Per quanto desolante, questo scenario rappresenta un'evidente opportunità per l'Europa, la quale può favorire, almeno in parte, il rientro dei ricercatori e delle ricercatrici, invertendo così quel brain drain che per decenni ha caratterizzato il rapporto fra i due continenti e ha visto migliaia di giovani formati nelle migliori università europee migrare verso gli Stati Uniti. Una risposta coordinata a livello europeo, sostenuta da un importante impegno economico, sarebbe certamente più efficace e capace di segnalare la determinazione dell'Europa circa il valore che l'Unione attribuisce alla scienza e alla libertà accademica. L'iniziativa Choose Europe è certamente un passo nella direzione giusta che va sostenuto e potenziato. Indebolire la libertà accademica e limitare l'indipendenza dell'università significa comprometterne le missioni essenziali, la ricerca, l'insegnamento e la capacità di contribuire al progresso delle società. Anche senza arrivare a misure drastiche, come il taglio dei fondi, quali effetti si producono sulla ricerca accademica se i ricercatori si autocensurano per evitare tematiche controverse? Come insegnare agli studenti il pensiero critico se l'università non è la casa del pluralismo e del confronto nella massima diversità di idee e opinioni. Come osservato da Roberta Metsola, Presidente del Parlamento europeo di recente, è solo quando gli accademici e i ricercatori sono liberi di perseguire i propri progetti che il risultato del loro lavoro è veramente rivoluzionario e innovativo. Senza libertà accademica neghiamo il progresso sociale per l'umanità. Noi tutti siamo consapevoli del valore inestimabile dell'indipendenza della nostra università, valore che, come il nostro Consiglio di amministrazione ci ricorda, dobbiamo tutelare con una gestione attenta e prudente, ma non pavida, perché l'indipendenza intellettuale non può prescindere dall'indipendenza da qualsiasi potere economico e politico, ma rimane fine a se stessa senza la capacità di sfidare le consuetudini, di innovare e migliorare nel continuo. La Bocconi è un'università libera, indipendente, orgogliosamente italiana ed europea. Il processo di integrazione europea sta soffrendo, dominato dagli interessi nazionali, proprio nel momento in cui le sfide globali, sicurezza e difesa, cambiamento climatico, rivoluzione dell'intelligenza artificiale, richiederebbero un'Unione Europea più unita, più coesa e più forte. Tra le istituzioni artefici del processo di integrazione europea, la Banca Europea per gli Investimenti occupa un ruolo centrale, poiché finanzia i progetti più rilevanti che contribuiscono a realizzare gli obiettivi dell'Unione per accrescere le potenzialità dell'Europa in termini di occupazione e crescita, sostenere le iniziative volte a mitigare i cambiamenti climatici e promuovere le politiche dell'Unione al di fuori dei propri confini. Siamo pertanto veramente onorati di ospitare oggi come nostra keynote speaker la Presidente della Banca Europea per gli Investimenti, Nadia Calviño. Dear Nadia, welcome to Bocconi. Nadia Calviño is President of the European Investment Bank and Chair of its Board of Directors, a position she has held since January 2024. Prior to joining the EIB group, Ms. Calviño held several key roles within the Spanish government, including First Vice President and Minister of Economy, Trade and Enterprise from November 23, after holding the role of First Vice President and Minister for Economy and Digitalization from July 21 to November 23. President Calviño also served in the European Commission as Director General DG Budget, Deputy Director General for Financial Regulation in DG Internal Markets and Services, and Deputy Director General for Mergers and Antitrust in DG Competition. Nadia Calviño is a truly European leader, and her remarks today will surely be a powerful source of inspiration, especially for our students. She will provide us with her vision for the future of Europe and of the crucial role played by the European Investment Bank. Over the past 2 decades, by the way, the bank has also supported Bocconi University through 3 financing agreements that have been crucial to the expansion and enhancement of our campus. Concludo queste brevi note introduttive ringraziando tutti i membri del nostro Consiglio di amministrazione, il vicepresidente della Bocconi, professor Guido Tabellini, il rettore, professor Billari, e il consigliere delegato, dottor Riccardo Taranto, per il loro impegno costante durante un anno intenso e ricco di soddisfazioni per la nostra università, come poi riferirà il rettore. Insieme a loro esprimo la mia gratitudine e di tutta l'università a tutti i colleghi della faculty e dello staff amministrativo per l'impegno e i risultati raggiunti, insieme agli auguri di buon lavoro per l'anno accademico che ci apprestiamo a inaugurare. Infine, un ringraziamento particolare ai professori Mario Monti e Angelo Provasoli, rispettivamente Presidente e Consigliere Delegato dell'Istituto Javot Bocconi, per il continuo supporto che l'Istituto offre alla nostra Università. Grazie.
the floor to the Rector of Bocconi University, Professor Francesco Billari.
Care autorità, dear students, dear staff, dear alumni, dear faculty and researchers, dear friends, amici. Welcome to this academic year opening ceremony. Parlerò in inglese, quindi potete seguire il discorso o attraverso la traduzione simultanea oppure leggendo la versione integrale che è pubblicata online e potete scaricare col QR code. Vi ringrazio per essere complici di questo bilinguismo che pratichiamo quotidianamente. Imagine an hourglass, and every grain that slips through is a possible decision, an opportunity, or an event that unfolds, whether we want it or not. Time passes silently, but not without consequences. An hourglass has no alarm, yet it serves as a powerful reminder that time is a finite resource for each of us. Indecision has a cost. Today we live in an age of perma-emergency. We are always in emergency. There is a continuous series of overlapping crises and emergency: economical, geopolitical, pandemic-related, environmental, technological. These emergencies fuel collective anxiety, uncertainty, instability, and fatigue. The problem is that they often drive us to make snap decisions that in the end shape the pathways ahead. In this climate, the greatest temptation is to stop thinking about the future. We risk abandoning planning, delaying evidence-based strategies, and avoiding structural choices. But today, making choices has become more, not less, important. It is easy to see why. By the way, delaying a decision in itself is a sort of choice, and it's often the wrong one. We are experiencing a technological revolution, and it has profoundly changed our relationship with time. Artificial intelligence and the vast availability of data are accelerating economic and social change. They are reshaping the pace and manner through which we perform everyday activities. Tasks are being automated, processes are accelerated, and operating times are reduced. This profound transformation has a highly valuable potential gift: time. But we must learn how to use this gift. For instance, by focusing on strategic decisions without getting overwhelmed by each emergency. This extra time must become a space for growth, reflection, and participation. So we are making crucial choices about intergenerational equity, artificial intelligence, climate change, social cohesion, but we are witnessing a worrying phenomenon. As President Sironi just pointed out, universities, which have contributed greatly to the well-being of our world by pushing the boundaries of knowledge, these universities are under attack. Universities are places of research, and they are tasked with looking forward, underpinning choices with data and critical reflection, developing innovation and basic research. These institutions are places of education and are tasked with building the future through generations. This attack is even taking place in democracies, from the United States to Hungary, where ideological policies and identity-based pressures are challenging independent academic innovation, censoring programs and limiting freedom of research and the flow of talent. This is a sign that should concern us all, because if trust in universities is lost, a key pillar of democracy is lost. Universities, indeed, are where students develop knowledge as well as social and emotional skills. They are where solutions, analysis, and visions emerge. When society becomes polarized and critical thinking becomes a threat, universities are targeted. This means targeting spaces with pluralism of science-based ideas, where we want to use the time needed to understand the world. So we need time. And where the community engages in reasoned dissent. So attacking universities erodes the ground upon which we build deeper freedoms, the freedom to think, to discuss, and to be active citizens. We must, therefore, place universities at the center of our future and invest in them, as we, by the way, envisaged during this opening ceremony just 1 year ago. However, universities should not shut themselves away as ivory towers. On the contrary, we should emphasize our public role, our functioning democracy. For Europe, this also means knowing how to attract talent, students who are looking for places of openness and freedom. We can see that in the Bocconi data. Applications for admission to our bachelor programs this academic year have reached a new record, with a 25% increase among non-Italian students. Now, more than 6 out of every 10 applications come from countries other than Italy. For the first time in our history, among these countries, the United States ranks number 3 after France and Turkey. I think this is a clear sign that the world is looking for universities that are independent, open, reliable, and capable of building the future. Universities that believe in the values of diversity and inclusion, and that devote time and resources to translating these values into action. We want to be part of this world. Thanks to the Bocconi for Access to Education program, more than 1 in 3 students benefit from financial aid at Bocconi, and nearly 2,000 students can attend our classes without paying any tuition fee. Bocconi wants to make its contribution by choosing the future. We choose to dedicate our time to what drives our actions. We are currently finalizing a Bocconi strategic plan for the period 2026 to 2030, and this plan stems from this awareness. Every choice has a weight, every deliberate choice that is implemented without procrastination is a choice for the future. I would like now to speak about generations, because the time frame of our choices is spanning generations. Every decision we make or fail to make today will influence the lives of those growing up now and those who will live in the future. The timeline of history, economics, society, and politics entails a pact between generations. Sometimes this pact is made explicit. This is the case, for instance, of constitutional arrangements. They are designed for the long run, but they also contain the mechanism of choice and revision that are necessary, as Piero Calamandrei said, to open paths to the future. More often, the pact between generations is implicit. Now, there is a risk of this pact being fractured. This is happening at a time where, thanks to advancements in sciences, including in social sciences on which Bocconi focuses, we have the highest life expectancy of human history. And at this time, where for the first time in history, we have multiple generations living and working together, overlapping and having to collaborate. The intergenerational pact is at risk of breaking down under the weight of mistrust and inequality. This is exactly why we need a new alliance. An alliance that starts with education, research, and the freedom and responsibility to think about the future. So the state of perma-emergency leads to widespread anxiety, and this affects generations and influences political choices. For younger generations, widespread anxiety has long-term consequences. In thinking about youth, as an adult, I would say, we are underestimated the consequences of what happened during the COVID-19 pandemic. The WHO has recorded a 25% increase in anxiety and depression-related disorders in the post-pandemic world. The OECD shows that 40% of adolescents in advanced societies are uncertain about what kind of job they will have at the age of 30. This figure has more than tripled since the first decade of this century, with an acceleration after the pandemic. So against this backdrop, restoring time for social interaction rooted in discussion and thought is not a luxury. It is a democratic necessity. Every generation inherits something from the previous ones: resources, institutions, constraints, and hopefully time. The quality of a society is measured by its ability to transform this transmission of time between generations into equity, trust, and responsibility. But today the transmission is more complex. Generations live together longer, but they do not always communicate with each other. Italy is a special case. The median age of the Italian population is 47 years. Young people struggle to become independent, and over 2/3 of them still live with their families. Meanwhile, the elderly population is fortunately more active and central in social and political life, although still not sufficiently in the working life. So we start late and we finish early. According to Eurostat data, the average length of the working life in Italy is the second shortest in the European Union. People work on average less than 33 years, out of a record, luckily, life expectancy of 83.4 years. We are just number 2 after Spain, dear President Calviño. So Italians work 5 years on average fewer than the EU average and 10 years fewer than the Netherlands or Sweden. This is not just a matter of demography and untapped potential of our human capital. It is a political and cultural challenge. How do we distribute rights, attentions, resources, and voice between those who are already active players in societies and those who are yet to become so? So democracy, indeed, is built on this very promise. Every generation matters, and no one should be left behind or marginalized. When this promise falters, democracy becomes weaker. So defending democracy today means not only protecting it from external attacks, but also carefully monitoring the state of health from within. I would like to thank our colleagues who run the Monitoring Democracy project at Bocconi, collecting data, indicators, and signals to continuously monitor the quality of democracy in Italy and Europe. Some warnings have emerged. The perception of political ineffectiveness is growing, and trust in institutions is declining. Italians place their trust in family and science, but the number of people who believe that a strong leader can govern better without worrying too much about the parliament or elections is on the rise. Monitoring the state of democracy is essential, not to fuel alarm, but to maintain the power to make choices. And I mean informed, aware, and free choices. Also, President Mario Draghi has reminded us that nearly 80 years after the end of World War II, collective defense of democracy is taken for granted by generations with no memory of that time. Their commitment to European political integration also depends in no small part on the ability to offer our citizens prospects for the future. So in all this, I reiterate, universities play a crucial role. They are places where the transmission of time between generations is an opportunity for social interaction. They are places where faculty and students share perspectives, experiences, and visions. They are places where we can recognize and cultivate an effective and real generational pact centered on democracy as a common good. At Bocconi, we take this pact every day. It affects the way we teach, we learn, we conduct research, and act as an institution with a responsibility that extends beyond our physical boundaries, our campus, and our community. We do this through education, where we promote deep interdisciplinary learning for young people. We do this for all generations through lifelong learning, to help everyone remain open and up to speed in all stages of their professional life. Our SDA Bocconi School of Management plays a crucial role, with 18 MBAs and executive master programs attended by over 850 participants from more than 70 countries and a wide range of executive courses. The school helps to train mature, aware, global, and impact-oriented change makers. Overall, more than 14,000 professionals and their institutions choose us every year. It is also through this learning ecosystem that Bocconi translates its global vocation into real, lasting impact. We do this through our third mission, where we build bridges between the university and society by promoting scientific outreach and improving the lives of marginalized people. For instance, the Prison Project promotes access to higher education for prisoners, or Bocconi inclusion programs are dedicated to young refugees and high-potential students from disadvantaged backgrounds or politically unstable countries. Starting this academic year, we are offering 5 new scholarships for young refugees participating in the UNHCR Unicore project, University Corridor for Refugees, with the goal of increasing this number to 10 in the coming years. We do this by going into schools and sharing stories and projects such as a Scuola di Inclusione and a financial education project we developed as part of MUSA, a partnership of Milanese universities. This is a particular year for Milano. Our city will host the Olympic and Paralympic Games. And Bocconi will be part of the Games too. Also thanks to a Memorandum of Understanding signed with Fondazione Milano Cortina 2026, we will analyze the impact and legacy of the Games according to IOC and OECD guidelines. Our students have applied in large numbers to contribute firsthand to the success of the Games as volunteers. And the figure is 1,400, but I checked yesterday the data and we are more than 1,500. So thanks a lot to our students for volunteering. The Research in Motion initiative, in addition, which is part of the Cultural Games sponsored by the Lombardy region, which I thank, will take place in our campus as an interactive program in which physical activity and scientific outreach come together. A university like ours exists because great minds of different generations choose to work together. This generational diversity gives meaning to our present. It's a source of enrichment and progress that must guide us in building the future today. I would like to speak about our research. For us, research means making choices. without shying away from the uncertainty that inevitably comes with a research process. Yet, we have to decide where to look, which issues to raise, and which questions deserve our time, attention, and rigor. Every scientific choice is also a civic choice, because deciding to study a phenomenon means attributing value to it, placing it at the center of public debate, and contributing to helping build a more informed democracy. A recent study by our colleague Christophe Carnel shows that major advancements in knowledge do not come from chasing trends, but from the decision to stray away from the beaten path. Science moves forward when we have the courage to explore the unknown, to invest time, again time, and resources in ambitious hypotheses, even when they lie outside this immediate logic of consensus. We must be able to shoot for the moon. At Bocconi, placing research at the heart of our mission is a tool for interpreting critically and transforming the present. It means questioning not only what we produce, but why, for whom, and with what outcome. In times of polarization, media simplification, and opinions that travel faster than facts, choosing to produce useful knowledge is an act of civic responsibility. I mean, knowledge that matters, that is well-founded, across disciplines, and capable of guiding us. So this research becomes an invisible but impactful infrastructure for democracy, providing data, ideas, and tools for interpretation, questioning existing policies and imagining new ones, sometimes even shooting for the moon. We do so without compromising on quality, as demonstrated by the 72 projects that have already been funded by the European Research Council since the program began. Of these grants, 36 are active right now, today. I would like to highlight and congratulate the 7 ERC grant awardees this past year to researchers from different generations at Bocconi. 2 of these projects focus on labor market, wage inequality, and poverty. From our colleagues, Giulia Giupponi, who was awarded a starting grant, and Thomas Le Barbanchon, who was awarded a consolidator grant, and for Thomas, it's the 2nd ERC grant in his academic career. 3 starting grants or advanced grants focus on government, business, impact, development, and finance. Elena Carletti received a starting grant, and Michele Fioretti and Eduardo, sorry, I said starting, it's an advanced grant. Elena, sorry, congratulations. And Michele Fioretti and Edoardo Teso received a starting grant. Furthermore, 2 projects are in a new area for Bocconi, the mathematical sciences, a field in which we have chosen to invest, and I will come back to that. Elia Brouet received a starting grant, and Giuseppe Sabaret, both with an accent, as you notice, received an advanced investigator grant. Congratulations. These research projects start from the idea to shoot for the moon, to embrace the complexity of reality. And disciplinary diversity is an indispensable resource at Bocconi. By the way, our researchers also innovate by working together, combining methods and perspectives to better understand complex phenomena. I will give you one example. The Health Emergencies Analytics Lab, HEAL, which evolved from the COVID crisis lab and is directed by my colleague and friend Alessia Melegaro. The lab is hosted by the Dondena Center and is funded by a strong supporter of Bocconi, Fondazione Invernizzi. HEAL builds and expands Bocconi's commitment during the pandemic with a multidisciplinary laboratory that involves all departments of our university, taking a systemic approach to prevention, preparedness, and response to health crises. The goal is to produce strong, timely evidence to guide public policy, helping to build more resilient and informed societies. We are also investing time and research into making an impact in the field of artificial intelligence. We also want to create value by emphasizing the complementarity between tradition of social sciences and innovation. We do this in various ways. The new AI lab at SDA, led by Riccardo Zecchina, will also establish methodological research in the AI field. But we also establish strategic alliances with global innovative leaders. This year, we signed an agreement with OpenAI, becoming the first Italian university to offer specialized artificial intelligence tools to the entire academic community, and one of the first in Europe to offer equal access to these technologies for everyone. At the heart of this agreement is the development of new systems aimed at transforming how social science theories and ideas are developed and tested. Many areas of collaborations will be developed. The first areas include simulations with intelligent agents based on economic and managerial theories, the measurement of abstract concepts from unstructured data, such as text and videos, and the creation of intelligent assistants to personalize educational experiences. So this partnership bridges rigor and impact, method and innovation, helping to define new standards for applied research and policy making. A research-oriented university must focus on training the next generations of researchers. This is done primarily through PhD programs. By the way, collaboration between scholars of different disciplines has a greater impact than when teams are composed by homogeneous generations. So, PhD programs, they're fundamental for us. In addition to the 5 programs already offered by our PhD school, we will launch a brand new PhD program in mathematics and applications in the 26-27 academic year. This strategic project strengthens Bocconi presence in STEM disciplines with the goal of training researchers who can tackle complex analytical challenges through mathematics. It will be a 4-year program taught in English, based on strong theoretical rigor with an interdisciplinary approach. The scholarships for this program, as well as in some other PhD programs, will be funded thanks to the support from the Tech Europe Foundation, which I thank, which was created through a collaboration between Bocconi, Fondazione Politecnico di Milano, ION Foundation, FSI, and the Milan Chamber of Commerce. Moreover, I would like to thank Fondazione Romeo and Enrica Invernizzi for a long-term commitment to support our PhD school, the Invernizzi PhD Financial Aid Program, supporting our students, providing resources for mobility and participation in the international job market. Producing knowledge takes time, as I said several times now. But this time is given back to society. It's a social time, the time to understand, to discuss, and to decide with greater awareness. Producing knowledge that matters, the pact between universities and democracies is renewed every day. I would like to speak about the co-creation of the future through education. So this is a time when skills are multiplying and evolving rapidly. Teaching is no longer a vertical transmission of knowledge. It's about creating the conditions for each student to build their own path. It means cultivating curiosity, critical thinking, and willingness to dialogue. Above all, it is a leap of faith in the future. Every class is a leap of faith, but it's also a choice to take a stand. So at Bocconi, teaching is not only confined to the classroom, a degree program, or an exam. It is an ecosystem of classes, workshops, challenges, and field projects. We encourage depth and rigor, but also a diversity of approaches, hybridization and adaptability. We experiment and innovate. In some classes, students simulate a tender process or defend a party in arbitration. In others, they analyze the business models of major sporting or cultural events, designing real solutions for real stakeholders. These experiences do not replace theoretical study. They make it more meaningful. This is how students learn to navigate uncertainty, take responsibility, and build solutions. I would like to mention, for instance, our legal clinics. The legal clinics are part of the law school curriculum, giving students the opportunity to engage with complex legal and social contexts. This includes the legal help desk at the Bollate prison, the help desk in the San Siro neighborhood, the Bocconi Legal Clinic for Innovation supporting startups, and the Clinic on Global Trade and Investment Mechanism in collaboration with Trade Lab. We also provide support through the Ukraine Support and Information Clinic set up by the Bocconi Lab in European Studies. Moreover, a most recent initiative was developed in partnership with the Wikimedia Foundation to focus on protecting freedom of expression and information in the digital sphere, strengthening a connection between experiential learning and the protection of democracy. Our approach to teaching translates into methodological experimentation, which today is particularly focused on the use of data and artificial intelligence. So we began sharing advanced tools, as I anticipated before, such as ChatGPT EDU, with the entire Bocconi community. This summer, our professors studied a lot. We developed 89 teaching projects launched in 2024 alone, involving almost 100 faculty and over 13,000 students. Faculty training has involved more than 500 faculty. In the same vein, we have extended the Master of Science in Artificial Intelligence to include a new track, starting from this academic year. About half of the students enrolled in the second year will have the opportunity to spend a semester in Turin. They will have access to state-of-the-art laboratories and opportunities to conduct research and internships at the Italian Institute of Artificial Intelligence for Industry. Thanks to collaboration and funding from Fondazione Compagnia di San Paolo, students will have access to dedicated funding opportunities, including tuition waivers and scholarships. A further proof of our growing commitment to innovation and entrepreneurial culture is the reform of the Master of Science in Economics and Management of Innovation and Technology. Starting in the 2026-27 academic year, this master will be called Innovation, Technology, and Entrepreneurship. It's not only a name. There will be a new entrepreneurship concentration which will offer students the tools to develop innovative projects, hopefully startups. They will follow a learning by doing approach that we have tested in our Bocconi for Innovation Accelerator. In addition, the TEF Ignition program promoted by Tech Europe Foundation will also fall along these lines. It is designed to introduce all students to the world of entrepreneurship. The program will be launched in the coming weeks and take young people on a journey of discovery and experimentation, further enriching the range of educational opportunities at our university. So Bocconi is participating through TEF and in partnership with Politecnico di Milano, also in the Creative Distraction Lab, an international network that reflects our commitment to cultivate fertile ground for new ideas and for bridging research, business, and education, and generate real-world impact. The international nature of our community is a fundamental part of the Bocconi educational experience. Each year, more than 2,600 students take part in international mobility program at one of our 290 partner universities in over 50 countries. This opportunity includes student exchanges, double degree programs, and joint degree programs. Bocconi is also a member of 11 international alliances. Notable among these alliances, I would like to mention the U7+ Alliance, the Global Network for Advanced Management, and also SEMS, a prestigious and international network of universities, companies, and social partners that awards a joint master program in international management. I would like to mention Civica, or Civica, the European University of Social Sciences, of which Bocconi is a founding member. It is a strategic alliance of 10 universities, supported by Erasmus+ through the European Universities Initiative. It promotes a model of education, research, and outreach aimed at strengthening democratic citizenship through joint programs, student exchanges, and transnational projects. But we also bring the word to Milan. The internationalization of Bocconi is evident in the composition of our classes and faculty, with students and professors from over 120 countries, contributing to a global learning environment. For the first time in our history, half of the students entering Bocconi's bachelor programs in this academic year will have international backgrounds. Being international, by the way, means learning to think differently, questioning oneself, and tackling global or local challenges with tools that come from different disciplines and a critical spirit. This is a fundamental part of our educational journey, which helps to shape citizens of the world who are aware, independent, and responsible. The university experience, however, is also an opportunity to devote time to others. Social engagement is actively promoted within the Bocconi community as a crucial element of our educational journey. Students are encouraged to participate in volunteer work, civic projects, initiatives that support marginalized groups. In addition to the volunteering I mentioned before on the Olympic and Paralympic Games, this commitment is formally acknowledged to the Bocconi Social Impact Recognition, honoring those students who choose to serve the community during their academic career. Finally, the contact with the job market is an integral part of the Bocconi experience. This includes mentoring, career-oriented programs, individual counseling, meetings and projects with companies and institutions. 96% of Master of Science graduates are employed 1 year after graduation, and over 36% of them are working outside Italy, confirming that our educational offering is designed to interact with international markets and meet the highest global standards. Indeed, every year, Career Services organize 15 career fairs and 260 recruiting events in Italy and abroad, with 730 employers. Last year, we offered 12,000 internships and job offers on our job gate. So Bocconi is an open and global community that brings together students, alumni, faculty, staff, donors, and partners from around the world. A university is a public good, built day by day through the commitment of diverse individuals who are united by a desire to give back, to create opportunities, and to shape the future. Bocconi, with over 146,000 alumni worldwide, is a crossroads of ideas and pathways, a community of people who are capable of embracing complexity, building bridges, and acting responsibly. 26% of our alumni over the past year participated to our activities and the Bocconi alumni community by sharing their expertise, experiences, and connection. They deserve credit for nurturing local and global communities through initiatives that combine networking, continuing education, and social impact. We bring Bocconi to the world, but also the world to Milano. So for this first year in our history, we will be organizing a homecoming event, a grand reunion of the global Bocconi community, which will take place here in our campus in just over a month, from 16 to 18 of October. It will be an opportunity to celebrate the value of shared time and the strength of a multi-generational community that still chooses to show up. In addition, I would like to mention that this year, the Bocconi alumni community will add 2 new awards to the title of Alumnus of the Year, Emerging Leader and Change Maker. The goal is to recognize the impact of those who improve society and inspire new generations through their civic, social, and professional commitment. I'm delighted to announce that the 2025 Alumna of the Year is Elena Goitini, CEO of BNL and country head for Italy of the BNP Paribas Group. Moreover, Alizé de Tonnac, co-founder and co-CEO of Seedstar, has been named Emerging Leader of the Year. Finally, Adama Sané, co-founder and CEO of the Moleskine Foundation, has been named Changemaker of the Year. Congratulations to the women. Over time, this same energy has fueled a solid and shared culture of philanthropy. And I always remind that this university is here. You are all here today because of an act of philanthropy by Ferdinando Bocconi. We are taking the testimony from him. From 2007 to 2020, we raised 125 million from more than 3,000 donors. But it was during the 4-year period from 21 to 24 that a major leap forward was made. Almost 70 million were raised through the involvement of over 507,000 donors, a sign of growing confidence in the university mission for this nonprofit institution. In 2024 alone, more than 3,000 donors were involved, including alumni and companies and foundations. I'd like to thank very much our individual donors, as well as the companies, institutions, and foundations who have chosen to stand by our side as we share and build new projects together. Donations focus on 4 strategic areas: inclusion, social sciences, social responsibility, and community, with 60% of the funds raised directly allocated to support students through scholarships and other means of support. Thanks to donor support, moreover, our researchers can develop their talent through cutting-edge research and initiatives that contribute to social progress and to more sound social responsibility. There are 2 named research centers, 8 research laboratories created thanks to donations, and 24 named chairs and professorships. I'd like to mention 2 new ones this year. The Enel Foundation Chair in Competitiveness and Transition will be assigned to Professor Francesco De Carolis, who will study how to reconcile energy transitions and competitiveness by analyzing the interaction between businesses and regulators in building more equitable and resilient markets, with a particular focus on policy challenges. I'm also pleased to announce a very recent donation supporting the Harvey Chaplin Chair in Distribution, Channel, and Experience Management, funded by Campari, which I thank. This chair will be awarded to Professor Sandro Castaldo from the Department of Marketing. Also this year, following the untimely death of our dear colleagues Guido Corbetta and Luca Trevisan, the chairs previously assigned to them, the chair in Strategic Management of Family Business in memory of Alberto Falk, and the Fondazione Romeo de Enrica Invernizzi chair in Computer Science, have been entrusted to Professor Carlo Salvato and Professor Marmezan. A university, after all, works for those who come after. And in this shared time, shaped by choices, alliances, and philanthropy, the true capital of democracy is cultivated: mutual trust. I come to the conclusions, don't worry. Each academic year marks a new beginning. Well, I conclude with the beginning. But it's also a declaration of acting responsibly in the world. We begin this year by choosing, once again, to show up, to make a difference, to commit. In an age that accelerates, polarizes, and oversimplifies, we strongly reaffirm the value of shared time, of knowledge built with care and rigor, and of democracy as a common good. The hourglass with which we open these reflections also accompanies us in our conclusion. Each falling grain of sand is an opportunity that we can take to build meaning, generate impact, and create connections. Choosing to show up today is choosing to use wisely that time, that grain entrusted to us, rather than let it slip away in vain. This is the same gesture of responsibility and foresight made by Ferdinando Bocconi, who founded this university as a philanthropic act in memory of his lost son, but above all, in the name of future generations. A gesture that transformed pain into vision, loss into opportunity. It placed education and research at the center as a collective good, as a pact of freedom between past, present, and future. Since then, generations of Bocconians have preserved and renewed this vision. Our history has been studied and recounted over the years by our dear Professor Emeritus Achille Marzio Romani, who recently passed away in a tragic car accident, and whom I like to remember now with great affection and esteem. Thank you very much, Marzio. Generation after generation, Bocconians choose and continue to choose every day where to invest time and knowledge. We do so by reinforcing our European and global vocation, as well as our roots in Milano, in Italy, or in Europe. We do so by remembering that every educational choice, every research project, every initiative that connects the university to the world is a leap of faith in the future, and an act that is renewed together. For this reason, I like to extend my deep gratitude to all members of our community. Thank you. Thank you to students who bring energy, curiosity, critical thinking, and of course, generational renewal every year to this university. Thank you to faculty and researchers who every day choose the path of rigor, innovation, and public engagement. Thank you to our staff who makes every project possible and ensures its quality. Thank you to our alumni who changed the world. Thank you to our donors, partners, and supporters who recognize the university as a place to be cherished, strengthened, and nurtured together. An institution like ours thrives thanks to this alliance between generations, built on expertise as well as passion, freedom and responsibility, courage and foresight. And if today we are able to face the challenges that lie ahead with confidence, as a scientific community, as a university serving the public good, as a space open for learning, it is because we have chosen to show up together, to truly show up. I hereby declare open the 2025-26 academic year, the 124th in the history of our university.
The floor to the President of the European Investment Bank Group, Nadia Calviño.
Thank you very much for your kind words, for the introduction, dear Rector, Professor Billari, Professor Sironi, querido embajador, dear President, my dear caro Mario. Buongiorno. Buongiorno, dear students, faculty, honored guests. I'd like to start, obviously, with my warmest wishes to all of you for the new academic year. And congratulations to all the students that have made it here to begin a new chapter in your lives at one of Europe's leading universities. And I'm sure that it will be time well spent, productive, intellectually stimulating, and if I remember well what university was like, you will enjoy it enormously. And as I was hearing the introductions, I was thinking there was a lot of talk about philanthropy. I would like to start by asking for a round of applause to the greatest philanthropist of all, your parents, your family. Because, let's be honest, you have done a great job in getting here, but without them, without their support, you will probably not have made it. So, and I am also a mother, so I really wanted to give this round of applause to those that have been following you. I have a confession to make. This is probably the best moment of my week. It is really a great opportunity, and I'm really happy to join you on this very special occasion to also catch up with many friends that are part of the Bocconi family, the Bocconi alumni family. And I was also very happy to see with my own eyes the result of the work at the European Investment Bank, because as the President already said, actually the group has supported Bocconi with 3 financing agreements over the past 20 years for the building of the new campuses, upgrades, and new student residences, which I think is a very good investment, actually. The European Investment Bank is one of the world's biggest financiers of education infrastructures, from primary schools in Marseille to secondary schools in Ukraine, in Kiev. These are just the latest signatures that we have made in the last days. And I am really proud to see it here and to say it, because investing in education brings extremely high returns for the future. And social infrastructures are at the heart of the European model. Actually, I would argue that together with the dividends of peace and the global order, this has been already mentioned by the previous speakers, this social market economy actually explains our unprecedented success since the end of World War II. Now, President Sironi already spoke about the current geopolitical environment, and the Rector also, and the challenges that we're living, because actually this new geopolitical context is challenging the pillars of the European model, generating instability, conflict, bringing anxiety to citizens in Europe and around the world. And in this complex environment, the European Investment Bank is in a unique position to support our shared priorities, because we have a 600 billion balance sheet, a stellar AAA rating. We are the largest multilateral institution in the world. Equally important is that we are pan-European by design, with projects and presence in every corner of our union. Our shareholders are the 27 member states, neither more nor less. I don't need to elaborate here, I think, on why it is relevant that it is the 27 member states and no other international shareholder. And it means that our narrative, Our priorities are fully aligned with European values, European policies, and we enjoy the unanimous support of our 27 member states. Earlier during the summer, some weeks ago, our governors unanimously supported increasing our annual activity ceiling to 100 billion euros, as well as endorsing our strategic priorities. And our priorities, these 8 priorities, are absolutely aligned with the priorities of the European Union that President von der Leyen has been explaining during the morning. We were just joking with Mario Monti in saying the attention of Europe is now in Bocconi and not necessarily in Strasbourg. But obviously, the European Investment Bank, as financing arm of the European Union, is fully aligned with the priorities that have been outlined by President von der Leyen earlier today. Our top priority is consolidating our role as the climate bank, staying the course, to make the green transition a European success. And this is not only a matter for the future, because these investments are strengthening Europe's competitiveness, reducing costs, ensuring strategic autonomy and industrial excellence in the clean technologies of the future, reducing energy prices for businesses and also for citizens. We are already financing 40% of the ongoing infrastructure investments in the area of energy. We are right on track to finance this year more than 50 billion euros in green projects. And this means major electricity interconnections, support to wind and solar industry manufacturers, clean tech pioneers. Here in Italy, I had the chance to participate in July in the signature of an important loan to Terna for the flagship Adriatic Link submarine cable. Actually, Terna is our main client for power grid. So every time you hear about investment in energy infrastructures, you can picture in your mind the European Investment Bank logo and the European flag. Our second priority is digitalization and innovation, trying to support European innovators so that ideas, companies, technologies that are born in the EU can thrive, can prosper also here in Europe. We're rolling out a pioneer TechEU program with the goal of mobilizing 250 billion euros by 2027 in investment in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, digital technologies, health and biotech, clean tech, security and defense, skills and talent, digital infrastructures, critical raw materials, you name it. TechEU is bigger, faster, simpler than any other previous program to support Europe's innovators. So I'd like to use this opportunity to invite all those TechEU pioneers that are also going to thrive in this university to check out on the opportunities that we will be putting to them in what I hope to be an easy-to-use platform to have access to support. Our third priority, unfortunately, but this is our third priority now, is investing in Europe's security and defense, swiftly responding to the geopolitical realities. We doubled our financing in this area last year. We're going to more than triple in 2025, so that 3.5% of our financing in 2025 goes to stepping up Europe's security and defense capabilities, with flagship operations to reinforce Europe's critical infrastructures, to strengthen our industrial capabilities, including in drones, to support homegrown research and development, to facilitate access to finance by small and medium-sized companies throughout the value chain of large European contractors, and to nurture the development of dedicated investment funds in the area of security and defense. We have signed a loan to finance helicopters for the Italian armed forces, and I am sure that there will be other important projects coming up soon in your country. Let me mention briefly the other 5 priorities. Our fourth priority is cohesion, a founding pillar of the European Union, at the heart, at the core of the EIB mandate, because talent is equally distributed. You know, people are just as smart in Sicily as they are here in Milano, but opportunities are not equally spread. So what we're doing is we're bringing financing and opportunities where talent is, in every corner of our union. The EIB group hit a record last year in financing investment in cohesion regions. Almost half of our financing inside the EU goes to these regions. Like, for example, recently we signed an agreement to bring better water services to almost 500,000 people in the region of Abruzzo. Fifth priority, supporting our agriculture and our food security, which is a priority actually under the responsibility of the Italian Vice President, Gelsomina Vigliotti. We have launched our largest ever program for agriculture, 3 billion euros, to support in particular projects led by young farmers, by women. Earlier this year, we signed an innovative agreement with the region of Calabria to finance the creation of over 1,200 new farming businesses managed by young people. Sixth major priority is investing in social infrastructure, the European economic model. I already mentioned education, but this is also quality healthcare, more and better homes for all citizens. I already spoke about education, but next week I will also be intervening at an event organized by the European Parliament Special Housing Committee, led by an Italian MEP, by the way, an event that will take place here in Milan about our action plan to deliver around 1 million more affordable and sustainable homes in Europe by 2030. In Naples, for example, we are already transforming a former office building into a vibrant residence for 500 students. I wanted to mention this because student accommodation, I know, is a challenge here in Milano and all around Europe. And we're also, of course, financing the building and upgrading of hospitals from Malta to Finland, because we believe that this is what defines us as Europeans, taking good care of each other. Seventh investment priority is to increase the focus on impact and European interest in our activities outside the EU. That means reinforcing Europe's voice in the new global order, which is in the making as we speak. Because when everything, everywhere, all at once is changing, Europe's role as a beacon of freedom and civil rights, with a strong reputation as a reliable partner, committed to cooperation, win-win outcomes, is a strategic asset. We must seize this opportunity to open new markets for our goods and services, supporting European exporters, diversifying our supply chains, including in critical raw materials, I already mentioned it, and deepening our alliances, both in our neighborhood and beyond. Because in a world which becomes increasingly transactional, very fashionable world, actually, I think the currency of choice is trust. It has been mentioned here today already, and Europe's allies must know they can trust us to stay true to our partnerships. Whereas 90% of our financing stays here in the European Union, 10% is devoted to highly impactful projects. Let me just mention a couple of areas. We have provided 4 billion euros in support to Ukraine since the start of the war, repairing critical infrastructure, rebuilding schools, kindergartens, hospitals, securing the country's energy supply. We just approved a 500 million loan to replenish the gas storage capacities for the winter in Ukraine. Under extreme conditions, when even our offices are affected by the daily attacks, our staff on the ground signs or inaugurates a new project every second week in Ukraine. And showing the world what Europe stands for, we are supporting economic and financial stability in the Palestinian territories. The latest package of 400 million euros will be signed soon to support the private sector in the West Bank. So when Europe says that we support lasting peace and a two-state solution, we mean it. The European Investment Bank puts the money where our mouth is around the world. Because the dividends of peace only pay off when you invest in them. And restoring trust in a world of rules and values is essential to address global challenges, from public health to climate change, from migration to security. And it is also key for Europe's position and trade access to emerging economies, which make up for more than 90% of the world's population. Last but not least, priority for the EIB group is contributing to Europe's capital market union. I'm lucky to see every day Europe's incredible talent. The European Investment Bank Group is the biggest venture debt and venture capital financier in Europe, working with brilliant innovators that are researching and developing new treatments against cancer in the Netherlands and Denmark, for example, advanced industrial materials like 2-crystal graphene here in Italy, cutting-edge satellite technologies in Luxembourg or Belgium. Our research centers, our universities are second to none in the world. The number of startups that are created in Europe every year is comparable to those in the US. But we are the incubator of the world, because when those companies need to grow, they need to go elsewhere to get the funding they need. They need a large internal market with no barriers to grow, so that they can reach economies of scale, and of course they need the financing, the capital to grow and become the world leaders. And I think that this is, together with building our own security and defense capabilities, the most urgent priority right now, as both the Letta and Draghi reports have flagged. Building a fully integrated internal market that gives companies the economies of scale of 450 million citizens. The European Investment Bank Group is in itself a capital market union instrument. We issue debt under a European signature, and we finance pan-European investment, channeling savings into productive investments for our future. And we're working very closely with all our public and private partners at the European level, at national level, to foster this capital market union. I talked a lot about what we are doing today, the priorities driving our investment, because we cannot take this for granted. I am in awe every day about the vision of the founding fathers of the European Union that created the European Investment Bank from day one. This is undoubtedly one of the greatest success stories of the European Union, and everywhere you look, from the metro you took this morning to this university, to the energy grids, to the researchers, they have the European flag behind them. The European Union, the European Investment Bank, has been a key driver of success for the Italian economy and for the European economy. We cannot take this for granted. But I want to close with a word on the future. Because right now, and we have already heard it, it all seems filled with challenges. Sometimes the daily news are overwhelming. It's hard to keep your faith in a better world when you see the tragedies in the Middle East, the bombings in Ukraine, the growing impact of climate change, the strength of autocracies, and the serious threats to democracy. But when we look back, we realize this has happened before. Actually, wars, conflicts. This was the normal situation in our countries until the creation of the European Union, which my country could only join in 1986, after the end of a 40-year-long dictatorship. And this was actually the moment when I entered university, when I was sitting in the same place that you're occupying right now. Well, we have come a long way since then. We have overcome many crises. Not so long ago, many in the room will remember that almost every week there were experts foreseeing the end of the euro, the end of the European Union itself. Even more recently, the pandemic put our economies to the test, and Europe stood up to the challenge. Europe supported those countries that were more severely hit, Italy and Spain being the two countries that were most severely hit by the pandemic. So, we have overcome many crises, and against all those that are always foreseeing doom, we're still here, alive and kicking. And there are three main lessons that I take from these experiences. First one is that when we act with unity, determination, and solidarity, we are unstoppable. The second lesson is that there is no such thing as mission impossible, and I can testify to that because I have succeeded in many areas that were foreseen to be mission impossible. And the third lesson is that when we reach a critical juncture, what looks like the end of the road is only the starting point for a new beginning. And we are at such a juncture today. We have to change our ways, we have to adapt, we have to reset. But in many ways, this is also an opportunity, especially for the students, for the young. It is an opportunity to shape the future, to build a better world. And the unfolding technology revolution, from clean energy to artificial intelligence and quantum computing, opens new possibilities. These are extraordinary times because the world is more connected, more innovative than ever before. Things that seem to be science fiction only yesterday are now tools in our hands if we use them well. Because innovation is not only about technology. This was very well explained by the Rector in his speech. It is also a way of thinking. It means questioning assumptions, seeking different perspectives, and having the courage to try new ideas. And the same goes for the European project itself. The European Union has overcome every crisis and remains the best place to live. I am very comfortable to say it here in Italy, because in every crisis, it seized the opportunities to adapt, to change. And this history, our unity, our resilience gives me confidence for the future. Looking at you gives me confidence for the future, because it is up to all of us to take the right decisions and shape the future. It is my generation now at the helm, but very soon it will be you to lead the countries in public service, in private companies, in research centers, hospitals, universities. So let me leave with you with a quote. Let me leave you with a quote and a call for action that inspires me every day. When someone asked Tommaso Padoa-Schioppa, one of the fathers of the euro, there were no mothers at the time, and also an eminent Bocconi alumnus, of course. What is your objective, Mr. Padoa-Schioppa? Do you aim to understand the world or to change it? He said, obviously the two. I want to understand the world and to change it. That is why I am an economist. Of course, me being an economist, this resonates very much with you. But but the same goes for all these emerging leaders, game changers that you are building, that you're nurturing in these organizations. So this is my call for action. Doctors, engineers, mathematicians, lawyers, sociologists, accountants, computer scientists, use this extraordinary opportunity here to prepare yourselves. Listen, watch, learn, experiment, and get ready to understand and to change the world. As it was already said today, we are fighting for freedom, we're fighting for human rights, we're fighting for the rule of law, for respect, for our European democratic values, we're fighting for peace, and this is the good fight. So come join the fight. Taking the words of Leonard Cohen, it is time to ring the bells that still can ring. There is a crack. There is a crack in everything, and that is how the light gets in. Let me leave you with this positive message of confidence and determination and my best wishes for the academic year. Thank you very much.
Nadia, here we are. With the flag.
We need, but for the picture, we need to
come to the front. Yeah.
No worries, la cerimonia è terminata e vi ringraziamo molto per aver partecipato. Grazie mille.